Welcome back, Curious. Donald Trump's marriages and relationships have always been the talks of the press, newspapers, radio, and television. You name it. Whether they're being scrutinized or not, every detail that could have been known has been known. And Trump himself hasn't been silent on the matters either. Though he and Melania have been going strong together and supporting each other at all times, can it be that she'll be the one? But who were the loves of his life before? How did they meet? And how have the lives of those women turned out after they divorced? What were the reasons for his divorce? And what is his relationship like with his exes now? Stay with me to find out the answers to these questions, but before we continue, don't forget to hit the bell and the subscription buttons. As most people know, Donald's first wife was Ivana. She was born Ivana Marie Zelnickova in Czechoslovakia, which is now the Czech Republic. She started skating competitively at the age of 6 and in her teenage years competed in many tournaments throughout Europe. However, while she might have been Trump's first wife, he surely wasn't her first husband. In 1971, she married an Austrian ski instructor named Alfred Winkelmar, but there was more to it than meets the eye. The two were just platonic friends, and according to an article from news.com, the reason she tied the knot with him was that she could obtain an Austrian passport, one that would give her freedom to leave the communist Czechoslovakia without defection. And it is reported that she received her passport in 1972, and already the following year she received an absentee divorce from Alfred. She then moved to Canada to start a modeling career, which would eventually bring her to New York City and the place where she would meet her future husband. According to a 1990 issue of New York Magazine, the two met when Ivana came to the Big Apple as a group of models chosen to promote the 1976 Olympic Games in Montreal. According to the piece, Donald had spotted her across Maxwell Plums, which was a flamboyant restaurant and a singles bar, and being the gentleman that he is, he used his pull to get her a table. And Trump himself has been looking for a wife, but one with more character than the girls at the clubs that he was used to and that they were offering. It seems that the two of them hit it off because after a whirlwind courtship, the two got married in 1977. And as I'm sure most of you know, they had 3 children together, Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric. When the 80s had rolled around, Ivana became a fixture in the elite New York social scene, and on one occasion she even had proclaimed that 50 years time from now they will be Rockefellers. But she did more than just accompany her husband to parties. Ivana worked with his company, serving as an interior design consultant on several high-profile projects, which included the Trump Tower in New York City and the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City. Not to mention that she held executive positions at the Plaza Hotel in New York and at Trump's Castle Hotel and Casino for many years. All in all, it seemed that she took the idea of the American dream and made it her own. While it's clear to see that she was an asset to his businesses, their marriage did not last. Donald's first marriage imploded on the covers of all of New York tabloids after he took his mistress Marla Maples on a family vacation in Aspen, along with his wife Ivana. So what allegedly happened was that the husband and wife of 13 years were in Aspen for the winter holidays, as one does when they have the money. It turned out that Maples was also in town, but that might have not been a coincidence. In a 1991 interview with Barbara Walters, Ivana then revealed that she had first heard about Marla when she overheard her husband on the phone talking to a friend who was vacationing with them about their mutual friend. Having never heard of this friend, she asked Donald about it, and according to him, he said that it was someone that his friend knew and a girl that was after him for years. The former model then explained how the next day, while in line at the restaurant, she spoke to the friend and asked him to tell the girl that she loves her husband very much. Well, it turns out that Marla was standing behind them and she overheard everything. So once Ivana left, she stormed after her and said, "I'm Marla and I love your husband. Do you? I mean, how would you have reacted in such a situation, Curious?" As you can imagine, there was no saving the marriage after that. The couple separated in 1990, and in 1991, after a lengthy divorce proceedings, according to the New York Times, Ivana got $14 million payout, several properties, as well as an annual payment of $650,000 to support their 3 children. After the divorce, the Mrs. X Trump got busy to work on her own businesses. She appeared in many programs, launched her own fashion brand, Ivana Haute Couture, and released several books, and even had her own wine brand. She also remarried 2 more times, but none of those relationships lasted. And a fun fact, Curious, her wedding to Rossano Rubicondi took place at Trump's Palm Beach estate in Florida, so maybe things didn't end on such bad terms after all. Though it is worth mentioning the rumors in 1991 that claimed that she had taken Donnie to court due to intimate abuse, and the scandal where Trump's then lawyer famously said that it's impossible to abuse your spouse in such a way. That caused a a lot of backlash, as you can imagine, but then later in an interview with Time magazine, she cleared up that this had never happened and it was just lawyer talk. Now let's talk about the women who in one way or another contributed to the divorce. And Donald's second wife, Marla Maples. She was born on October 27th of 1963 in Georgia and was a former beauty pageant contestant. In 1985, she had moved to New York City in hopes of becoming an actress, but that is when she met her future husband, Mr. Trump. And in an interview for New York Magazine, she said that they met for the first time in 1985 and that they had run into each other several times throughout the years. Despite knowing that they had a connection, the timing wasn't appropriate. And talking about those early years, she said, "We'd spent a lot of time on the telephone with each other without ever being out together in public. By 88, I knew I truly loved this guy." What happens next, we've actually just discussed, so I won't elaborate on that. Almost instantly, Marla became a celebrity overnight. Paparazzi were following her everywhere. People were asking for her autographs and her name graced the covers of all the tabloids. And speaking with the New York Magazine, she revealed that due to all this frenzy, she had to leave the country for a while, and that for a month she was hiding out in Guatemala. And as things like that tend to happen, the two people who are in love, in October of 1993, they welcomed their daughter Tiffany Trump. And not long after, on December 20th, that very same year, the pair got married. An interesting fact is that the wedding seemed to have been instigated by an attack that had happened on the Long Island Railroad that happened several days prior. According to what Marla herself said to the New York Daily News at the time, Donald said to her that he made this decision because he figured life was short and he wanted to do this now. Ah, the romantic. Am I right, Curious? However, it seems that what goes around comes around, Curious. So, you know how these two got together because he was having an affair? Well, it seems that possibly this was also the undoing of their relationship. According to an article by Inside Edition, in 1996, Trump fired his bodyguard Spencer Wagner after a police officer found him and Marla together under a lifeguard stand on a deserted beach at 4 a.m. Both Maples and Trump denied the claims that she was having an affair, despite all the tabloids had pretty much run the story, though it is worth noting that the pair had separated in May of 1997 and divorced in June of 1999, so maybe there was some truth to those stories. However, under the terms of their prenuptial agreement and divorce settlement, Maples is bound by a confidentiality agreement regarding their marriage. And without those crazy days behind her, Marla has retreated to a much more private and deeply spiritual lifestyle. She has recently hosted her own mystical radio show on Contact Radio, where her guests included astrologers and alternative healers. This new life is suiting her, and in 2013, she released a meditative-themed musical number called The Endless, which even featured the Dalai Lama. Now single, Donald was able to pursue another relationship which at first wasn't off to an easy start. So let us now talk about his third wife, which would go on to become the First Lady of the United States. Melania Knavs was born on April 26th of 1970 in Novo Mesto, Slovenia, which at the time was a part of the communist Yugoslavia. She started her modeling career at the age of 16. In her early days in the industry, she worked in Milan and Paris before moving to New York in 1996, and that is where she gained steady work. Well, it seems like New York City is the place to be. She met her future husband at a fashion party in the city in 1998. Though, fun fact, at first she refused to date him, but Mr. Trump was persistent and the couple eventually began establishing a relationship. The pair got engaged in 2004, and the following year they got married in a lavish ceremony that took place in Palm Beach, Florida. Now, I wonder if that's the same one that his ex-wife Ivana had one of her weddings. As you know, the couple has one son together, Barron Trump, who was born on March of 2006. And if you want to know more about him, then be sure to check out our video by clicking on the link displayed above. Melania was usually more private than Trump's previous wives, but once he announced his intentions to run for president in 2016, she was pushed into the national spotlight, and along with all her past modeling work, which was considered to be racy, and one of the most controversial images being her 2000 British GQ spread where she was laying naked on a fur blanket. It was part of her job as a model that happened years ago, but then again, you know how cutthroat politics can get, bringing up the smallest amount of dirt they can find on anyone. Though it did not end there, and not long after, the New York Post had published nude photos of Melania when she was 25, including one that showed her lying on the bed with another woman. Though Donald, being the good husband that he is, came to defend his wife in an interview with the Post, and he said, "Melania was one of the most successful models, and she did many photo shoots, including 4 covers of major magazines, and this picture was taken for a European magazine prior to my knowing Melania, and in Europe, pictures like that are very fashionable and common, if you say so, Donald." And as Donald was supportive of his wife, it seemed that so was she, and according to an unauthorized biography by Kate Bennett titled Free Melania, she was the one who pushed him to run for president ahead of the 2016 elections. According to the author, it was due to two reasons. One part because she believed that he would win and do a good job, and also because, and I quote here, she was also tired, really tired of listening him talking about it. Well, it seems that she was right because, as we all know very well, Donald would go on to win the elections and become the president, making Melania the first lady. And it seems that Melania might truly be the one for Donald. She has stuck with him through thick and thin. Even back in 2018, when the adult film star Stormy Daniels revealed that she and the president had an affair back in 2006 and that she received a $130,000 payment and was forced into a non-disclosure agreement, which was later confirmed by lawyer Michael Cohen, who was involved in the case. According to an article by SheKnows.com, Stephanie Wolkoff, who was a former friend and senior advisor to Melania, texted her as soon as the news broke. The article also highlights her surprise at the text and she received in return, which apparently said it's politics. It seems that despite the accusations, she truly stuck by her husband's side. See, curious? Some people do stick by their wedding vows. So what do you think about Mr. Trump's past wives? Do you think that Ivana or Marla would have made a good first lady had they had still been together with the Donald? And what are your thoughts on how Melania is doing in her role? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and I will see you again soon in the next video.